then, welcome along wherever you're watching around the world to a spectacular slice of high-speed drama as we arrive at the tricky triangle for this afternoon's International IndyCar League Showdown at Pocono, brought to you live right here on the Velocity Online Racing channel. 3 corners then kick off season 30 this afternoon with 3 very different challenges and absolutely no margin for error. That's what awaits our drivers for over 76 laps or 190 miles of relentless wheel-to-wheel action, from the flat-out bravery required through turn 1 to the tunnel turn that punishes even the slightest mistake, and onto that long sweeping final corner that launches them back onto one of the longest straights in sim racing. This place has it all. Strategy will be crucial, fuel windows finely balanced, and the draft, oh yeah, that's going to play a massive part today. Expect slipstreams, late lunges, and drivers timing their moves to perfection as they fight not just the competition but the clock, tires, and their own nerve. Who's got the consistency to go the distance? Who dares to make the bold moves when it matters most? And who will conquer Pocono? And each of their name will be firmly into the hunt for round 1 of season 30. To answer all of those questions with me here this afternoon is once again Sébastien Kinder. Well then, with a long straight and clean slate, who will we be expecting to fight at the front and firmly put their name into championship contention, Seb?
Well, I mean, I already have like my bets on Matthias Strauss. By the way, hello everyone, welcome to Pocono. Built for speed, diversity, and danger. A true driver's track, formerly the third leg of the American Open World Triple Crown, as I said. And yeah, I would say Matthias Strauss, I'm biased, but he was very strong last season. So if he can stay out of trouble and be super consistent like he did last season, he has a good chance to win it all, Jack.
Yes, fresh off of what was looking to be so good for him last season in season 29 for a championship win. Unfortunately for him, coming away with 3rd in the series at the end of it. But we have a stacked field tonight. The likes of Mike West, Matthias Strauss, Jason Lowe, Ryan Bowles, Dan Enschel up in there. Multiple race starts, multiple race winners. And I think we're going to have an incredible fight at the front. Although one to look out in qualifying, I believe, is the man that's currently in 6th place, Ryan Bowles, the only pole sitter, I believe, previously in tonight's field. So I wonder if he will be able to snatch that away from the rest of his competitors this afternoon. Currently sat in the pit lane at the moment as we've got 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. Drivers still going around setting their qualifying times, but what is it like, Seb, to set a qualifying time around Pocono?
It's as I said, and I will say it again. It's truly a driver's track. It's truly a challenge because you have 3 different corners. Well, technically, we talked about it in before live. It's technically 5 corners, but you have like 1 in the first turn, which will be based on Trenton Speedway, which is kind of like a little lift. I think 1 and 3 are little lifts, and you gotta set the car up beautifully to get into that backstretch with the better launch. And then you have turn 2, which is pretty much the Indianapolis turn 2 corner, and it's also like you just flat out and try to get as low as possible. Still getting a good run for that 3rd turn, based on Milwaukee. Here you want to be as low as possible and on the floor as soon as possible to get the better run and get the best time possible. As we see Wade finishing his lap. And Jack,
yeah,
that's a
up into the 3rd position there for Wade. That was a good visual representation of what it would be like to spend at least half a lap on the on this amazing Pocono Raceway. But with a new season brings new challenges and a brand new opportunity for championship glory. Round 1 here is at Pocono, as we said, 190 miles. But next week we go to the beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That will be a cracker for round 2. That's 127 laps on the 29th of March. We then go to Kansas for another 127 laps, followed by Watkins, Glen, our first road course of the season. That'll be one to never miss for sure. Then we go to Chicagoland, Milwaukee Mile, Talladega, Phoenix Auto Club, Road America, Gateway, Texas, and then the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 100 laps to round out the season. What a schedule that is, Seb.
That is a pretty lovely schedule. But again, we're starting with the best out of them. We're starting with Pocono, which is like top 3 tracks for me. A track that should come back in the real life NTT IndyCar series schedule, because it's This track was made for IndyCar. It was called the Indy of the East for a good reason, and we'll see it again today, Jack.
Fantastic stuff. Well, qualifying is done and dusted. You can see there on your screen the drivers taking the dummy grid in pit road, ready for their green flag laps. And we'll take you through the grid for round 1 here today of season 30 at Pocono. So it's Matthias Strauss that nabs the pole. Seb's bid for glory this afternoon takes the pole away from David Stritt in the number 48 alongside Team Watson Racing. Will be glad with that pole position.
Yeah,
Sheridan Wade, the one that we rode on board with, is on row 2 alongside Dan Ench, another 2 drivers that we need to watch out for in this afternoon's race. Sorry, the 57, Nate Fields and Jason Lowe take row 3. Row 4 belongs to that of Rick Loverson and Toby Deek, 2 very familiar names among the IndyCar community. Expect some good racing out of those guys as well. Row 5 then is Matty Simpson and Matthias Marcamini, who I believe will be another fierce competitor in tonight's action. And then to round out the grid, we have Ryan Bowles, unable to get the lap together, I believe. The only previous pole sitter in tonight's field will start on the inside of row number 6, alongside Mike West, who didn't actually set a qualifying time. I wonder if that was intentional or whether that was simply him tapping the walls, which seems to be potentially quite easy, especially with that tunnel turn, Seb.
I would say more turn 3 actually, because turn 3 can get super tight at the exit and hit the wall. So yeah, either in 3 and 1, Jack. Also, Matthias Strauss is kind of like the favorite for today because he won last season at this exact same track.
Yeah, well, it would be amazing to see what will unfold in tonight's action. Although before we do get underway, I want to say a massive thank you for this afternoon's sponsor of the Pocono 190, and that is the Florida Urgent Rescue Foundation, which say that our mission is to save animals from killing shelters and other urgent situations. We take on tough cases, including dogs who have been hit by cars, who have gunshot wounds, embedded collars, cancerous tumors, and other major medical issues. They rescue seniors, pregnant mums, and mums with littlers so that they can focus primarily on rural shelters with limited resources, and they try to help the animals who need the most help. Find them online at www.floridaurgentrescue.org, and I do strongly advise you go and take a look. Exactly, a fantastic cause. As we see our field now come to the green flag, it's going to be green racing. We go pedal to the metal for season 30 here at Pocono. Seems to be a good start there for Matthias Strauss at the front of the field, making it very clear his intentions early on, stealing away and commanding the field around for their first tour of this 1 of 76 lap race. Sort of filing into single file now, Seb.
Yeah, I mean, we did have like almost a classic Pocono moment where they almost went free into turn 1, but yeah, very curious to see how it will play out, because this is the first time it's this new version of the IndyCar, because we got last week the patch and the added horsepower to this car and the new tires. I'm wondering how this will race, Jack.
Yeah, I remember covering a race last week about this with this new IndyCar package alongside Justin Prince, and we both really felt that it gave a new playing field for this IndyCar here on iRacing, with these new patches and updates, new aero maps for certain circuits, more power, as you touched upon there, Seb. And I think that along with the complete revamp that these cars got, I think it was 1 season ago now with the hybrid system, these cars are very, very different to how they were this time last year.
Yeah, and I feel like they're more fun actually with the added horsepower and balls. So that was a lovely move. This is what I like to do on the outside in turn 3. And look at the run he's getting.
Oh, yep. Wow. Ryan Bowles with the bold move around the outside to make his progress up the field, up into 7th place. He's going to be moving up 4 places now since the start of this race. A fantastic start to his run, as Jason Lowe again is not actually making the progress that I would have thought, Seb. I thought he would be really sort of pushing towards the front of this one, commanding this race.
Jason is, yeah, I mean, he's not in the lead pack, which is maybe a bit more problematic, but, you know, there's still 74 laps to go, 73 at the line, Jack. There's still plenty of time left to make that gap back.
Yeah, we see Sheridan Wade there actually lifting off the throttle behind Strauss, our race leader. So tactics coming into play very, very early on. And it's almost, I would feel like if you're sat in the slipstream in that second place, it's almost too tempting to have a look at the inside and take that lead away to at least, you know, say you've led a lap here at Pocono in the season opener. But I feel like these drivers would have a lot more discipline than myself as it gets very, very close here, Seb.
Deck and Field, we're having a ding-dong there at the exit of 2. Not really the place where you're having like mad shenanigans happening. As we see someone, I think that's for 3rd place. Oh, that run from Fields.
Oh, that's Fields with a beautiful run straight to, he's going to actually go for the lead in the race here, 2 into 1 from
That's
the 57.
crazy.
Nate Fields hits the front with 5 laps into this race. He wants to set the pace now. Matthias Strauss probably having a sigh of relief there as he can now set back and start saving some fuel. But Fields with an interesting move to the front.
I feel like Matthias was not going full throttle down the front stretch because that run was insane. But we'll see. As
here comes Wade as well. He's going to make Matthias drop to 3rd. So it's going to be Team Watson Racing from the front of this race. 1 lap ago down to 3rd, and potentially even 4th. As here comes Toby Deek looking to the inside. Is he going to make the move? No, but it's going to be a swap for the lead, is it? Yes, it is. It's going to be Wade that hits the front from Fields.
Oh, and this is a situation you don't like. You're still side by side at the exit of 1 entering 2. Yeah, this is going to be a very tight turn for Fields.
Yeah, you need to be careful, I think, if you're going to be the one that's on the outside or the inside with not much help. You don't want to be the one that sort of is completely by themselves, as dipping into a little bit of my NASCAR stock car knowledge. It's always the one that has the momentum that will carry the speed through the rest of the circuit. As we see another swap for the lead. Fields is going to go to the inside of Wade. He's going to take the lead and says, no, thank you. I want to be leading this one very early on.
Oh yeah, turn 2, you can go side by side, but if you go side by side and you're in the pack, this is the moment where you're starting to clench your butt, because with the dirty air and all, you're not going to like that corner. I usually use turn 2 as a setup for turn 3 though, as we see blinking from Toby Deck.
Yeah, he's going to go to the inside of Matthias, and he's actually going to try and take away that podium place off of the Team Watson Racing driver. This is going to be very, very sketchy as Deke is disappearing and appearing once again, and the 2 at the front trying to swap draft, Seb.
Oh, yes. Yeah, swap drafting, and we see that top 4 is actually kind of created a little gap. So it's really interesting to follow their work.
Yeah, they're trying their best to get away, aren't they? But I don't think it's quite working for them. They need to sort of polish up on how efficiently they're doing this. But I mean, they are now actually starting to build a gap.
Yeah, because behind they're fighting, and right now the 3 and 4 are fighting, and they're like just swap drafting. So.
Yeah, this chasing field of the 3rd and 4th drivers need to be careful of the rest of the pack behind. You see Bowles in there. You see Jason Lowe actually looking for a move on, who was that? I think that might have been Strid he was swapping places with up into 5th. For one of our most experienced drivers in the field, as I touched upon at the start, Jason Lowe, 18 starts, 2 wins, an average finishing position of 3rd and an average start of 4th. So he definitely knows how to get his way around this Pocono racetrack as we ride on board with the 004. This is going to be Toby Deek in front of us, and the top 3 actually, Seb, now you mention it, building a little bit of a gap to the rookie.
But the rookie Deck is still half a second, so he's still in the trap, so he can come back. It's just you don't need to squander more, because you also gotta take into account that dirty air. You gotta take into account your tires to not destroy them too much. So we'll see.
Yes,
he's already back. He's already back on the back of Matthias Strass there.
Yeah, exactly. I think speaking of pit strategy and tire life, you're looking at around 15 to 17 lap-long stints, if I remember you saying correctly in the pre-race show, Seb.
According to my memory, it's around that.
So we should be approaching the first of the pit windows, and it's going to be interesting to see who actually dips in first. I'm expecting the likes of potentially Marcomini, Bowles, Strid, Lowe, those kind of guys to dip into the pit lane a little bit later than the likes of Strauss, Wade, Fields, the guys that have been running at the front, simply because they've had the beneficiary of that slipstream and that draft factor a little bit longer, so they can, you know, run maybe in a slightly lower engine map, slightly less throttle input, and just eke out that fuel tank a little bit longer. Surprisingly, with 11 laps in the books already, the field is extremely close together. As we see another swap for the lead, this is going to be Fields again swapping with Wade. I think they're still trying this swap drafting tactic, although they have been reeled in by Deek and Strauss, who have got their act together, stopped squabbling amongst themselves, and I think Matthias has accepted the fact that he's not going to be in a podium position for the moment. However, Seb, like you said, there is still a long way to go. There is still strategy to come into play, and we could still have an extremely exciting masterclass performance from the number 28.
Interesting lines with Matthias. He's running high. He's running the high line in turn 3. This is it's still very interesting how Pocono can have like multiple lanes. You'd expect this being a one groove track, but it's not with this car, as you see. Another swap drafting. I really like how the hybrid made swap drafting easier, because you can just like go full push on next to the corners. Meanwhile, the guy in front can just go full regen.
And look at that for a camera angle. The visor cam on board the, I believe it was the renewed Guilds car. That was a fantastic camera angle we had there, getting a driver's eye view of the action rather than looking from the edge of the racetrack, as we see the remainder of the field coming through.
Oh, someone's spinning.
We see, I believe that was Ench. Dan Ench is the first into the pit, so that's lap 14 for Dan Ench. As
you saw, like, we have 76 laps today, Jack. My memory say like we do 15 laps with a tank. That means there's gonna be one stint where you're gonna do that extra lap.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a headache for Dan Ench then, come the end of the race, if he's going to have to do that one extra lap. But maybe he's praying for a caution.
Yeah, probably, because now he's got to do 2 extra laps now, because he's pitted a lap earlier.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting for Dan Ench. He does have the experience around his 16 starts for Dan Ench, so there's no doubt that he knows his way around a race here at Pocono, but potentially it could be a very interesting strategic play early on from that number 52 car. Is on board with the 57, and we're going to continue to see Wade there on the left-hand side make his way through, and they're going to continue swap drafting these guys at the front, potentially playing a little bit of a team game, working together to try and build out a gap wherever they can, although 15 laps into this one, it's not really paid off for them, as we have 3 into the pits.
Yeah, that was Nate,
that was Wade.
Toby Dick.
Yep, and Wade as well.
And Wade. So meanwhile, all of these guys that still stay out, they did their fuel saving work.
Yeah, so that's what we were sort of fearing, the fact that these guys who've been running at the front, creating that sort of slipstream effect for the cars behind, using more fuel, having to pit a little bit earlier on. So it's going to be 16 laps for the 54, 57, and 83 who leave pit road as we speak now. So they're about a straight or so ahead of the rest of the field. And it's going to be almost like a velodrome cycling race now, as you have 2 packs, one's considerably bigger than the other, fighting for the effective track position.
Yeah, I like the comparison. Yeah, usually when we talk about races like this, we also like use the cycling terms for people who watch like Tour de France and stuff like that, because you have the people who escape, you have like the main pack and stuff like that. As we see again, a few people in the pits,
Yeah, this is Rick Loverson and Mike West into the pits, so they're going to go a lap longer than Wade and those around him who pitted. So we're going to have a little bit more of a staggered pit stop cycle as we now ride on board with Marcomini. Can he get it stopped in time? Absolutely beautiful. A little bit of a lock-up, though, from Strauss, I believe that was in front of him. So it's going to be Matty Simpson, Matthias Marcomini and Matthias Strauss, the two Matthiases coming down pit road at the same time for an 18-lap stint. So they're going considerably longer than those around them. So that's going to be massively playing into their hands.
Yeah, true. Now I'm interested to see what Lowe has in the tank for us, because this is interesting. If Lowe can do like 19 lap stints, which no, he can't. That would have been very interesting, because he would have been able maybe to get one stop less. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's a pack that I definitely want to keep an eye on. Jason Lowe, David Strid, Ryan Bowles, three names rather, in the International IndyCar Championship that we have seen a lot of and have a lot of experience and a lot of talent when it comes to getting these IR18s around the speedway quickly. And those three together, we'll have to see how well that pulls off as a trio as they now all file out of pit road, led by Jason Lowe once again. So no swaps around in the pit lane, although no, look how far back Bowles is. He's about a second and a half behind.
Yep.
What on earth happened there for Ryan Bowles?
Probably he missed his pit box. So at Pocono, it's very tough. The pits are very tough because you feel like you're maybe a bit too left, and they're like, no, we're not changing your tires. I feel like Pocono is the most brutal out of the pits in iRacing.
So potentially a little bit of a mistake there for Ryan Bowles. That's going to cycle him back behind Marcomini, Strauss, Simpson. So he's going to be sat 7th, which is really not where he wants to be, as if he had came out with the rest of the trio that he was with Lowe and Strid, who now both get a masterclass in how to be overtaken from Wade in the 54, who demands he takes the lead back and lead this one from lap 20 onwards. 9 laps then led today for Sheridan Wade, making his statement made of where he wants to be come the business end of this race. And I think Lowe and Strid behind, with the experience they have, understand that it's okay to let the 54 punch the hole in the air for them for this middle section of the race. They would be more than happy to sit behind at half throttle or 3/4 throttle and let him do all the main work, as now we ride on board with Ryan Bowles. This is him having a go at Simpson in the number 3 to try and make his way back into the top 6.
Yeah, and let's see Bowles being very high in turn 1, cutting across at the exit of turn 2, trying to get that run and that clean air. Yeah, that's a good run. That's a very good run.
He's going to opt out of it, actually. He's going to wait for the number 3 to catch Marcomini and the rest of them in front.
And like he again went high to get like as much clean as possible. And look at this. This is a much better run. And again,
thinking better of it.
Yeah.
You can see there on the input graph.
He didn't lead pack. We're only on lap 22, so.
Yeah, maybe he's more than happy to sit behind the number 3 and just hope that that he can keep tabs on the lead pack in front. And you can hear there he's saving incredible amounts of fuel, so he wants to push this stint even longer so that he can have a lot of wiggle room and room to spend a bit more fuel should he need to later on in this race.
Yeah, saving fuel. I feel like, yeah, fuel consumption is going to be a big factor for this race, Dak.
Yeah, just looking at the times, you know, the top guys, their best time so far in this race, we're looking at the high 40s. We're looking at 40.7, 40.3.
And they're all doing 41.2.
But now, exactly, they're all doing low 41s. So we're lapping around half a second to 3/4 of a second slower than what we were when these guys were going pedal to the metal earlier on in this race. As we continue to watch the Monster Energy number 25, having a look at Simpson constantly. I think this is just in an attempt to find some clear clear air and save the tires rather than actually get past that car in front. But does he have the overlap? I believe no, he doesn't. He actually lets Simpson back in. But the pack is now rather all back as one, isn't it?
It is. Oh.
Getting a look at the beautiful scenery around the outside of this Pocono Speedway. Lap 24 of 76. The pack, after first pit cycle, has remained as one entity as we see more battles going on down the field. This is Ryan Bowles having to fend off. Whoa, he's had to fend off field. Lots of moving around. And who's that? Is that someone coming back into the pits? Was that Bowles having a little bit of a slide there? I don't think it was. He's going to cycle to the back of this main pack, and it's going to be, we're going to get a replay of this, I believe. Seb, that's all yours.
All right, so side by side, and some balls getting in the dirty air, and the car doesn't turn. It doesn't turn, and you need to do a big lift, and there we go. You lose all your momentum.
Yeah, seems to be there's a lot of cars with maybe some slight internet issues out there tonight. We need to be careful of those that they don't cause any net code issues or any accidents that is just pure unlucky rather than anything. And especially when you're traveling at 220 miles an hour, I'd assume. Seb, as a man that drives these cars yourself, that's the last thing you want when you're going side by side.
I have experience with me having connection difficulties, and even for yourself, you gotta, even when you're the guy who's banking, you gotta now have in mind that maybe the guy you're facing he's not really there on your screen. He's maybe somewhere else.
This is riding on board with Wade in the 54, so he's still leading this one from Jason Lowe, Strid, Strauss, Marcamini, Fields, Deck, Simpson, Bowles and West, your top 10 at the moment, with Dan Ench sort of rounding out the back of this main pack. And Rick Loverson sort of seems to be rather, he's fallen off the back of the main pack at this rate, and I really wonder how that sort of come about for him, because he was definitely in the mix in this first stint. I wonder if it was pit trouble like we saw for Ryan Bowles for him. Seb, as you said, very difficult, the pit lane here at Pocono.
Yeah, maybe he's just saving fuel again. Right now, we don't have like the few numbers of these guys and stuff like that. So only thing we can see is like they're all in the pack and they're probably all saving fuel right now. So again, you're still in the lead pack, so no need to panic. You still have less than, like 48 laps to go.
Yeah, just looking ahead towards the next pit cycle, which isn't actually too far away now. We have Wade in the 54, who is on a 12-lap stint, along with Fields, Toby Deek, and then the next nearest drivers are Mike West and Rick Loverson. Dan Ench actually on a 14-lap stint, so expect him down to pit road in the next few laps. But it almost is like we have different strategies in a sense coming into play here, with the best part of 3 or 4 laps difference between our earliest and latest stoppers.
I gotta tell you, one guy that is like probably not liking the situation is Wade. He's been ahead of this pack for a while now, and yeah, he's slower, but he's still pushing that air, so he's still using a bit more fuel than all of these guys.
Yeah, in a way, he's doing everyone a bit of a favor, isn't he? Punching that big IndyCar-shaped hole in the air, flinging it all over the place, creating some nice drafting effects as we there see Dan Ench, I believe it was. Yeah, so Dan Ench down pit road. That's going to be a routine stop for him, being the first to stop in the first pit window. So he will make his second stop of the evening as we ride on board with David Strid. This is a camera angle that I like a lot as we now cut to Dan Ench going down pit road. We'll see if he can hit his mark. Seb riding on board from the T-cam into the left-hand side. Good. Stops it lovely in the box. There we go. So you said it's very easy to miss the marks there, but Dan Ench getting away with absolutely perfect pit stop precision. Yeah, there we go. So Wade into the pits, and no one's going to come with him. That's very big. That's very, very big for this race, because he's got no one to work with, has he?
no one. And Hinch was already super far back. He was the only guy not in the lead pack, so yeah, that's trouble for Wade.
Yeah, we're going to see how this one plays out for him. Swap for the lead, so Strauss is going to retake the lead and hit the front on lap 31 ahead of Jason Lowe, who seems to be not really that bothered with a car being in front of him. I think he's on a really extending strategy at the moment. Matthias Strauss starting on the front row now, back to the lead of this race, as you see the lapped Dan Ench in front, as we see two cars firing themselves. That's a caution.
That's a caution. That's got to be a caution.
That's got to be a caution. We have a car stricken in the middle of the circuit. That is going to be David Strid with a meatball as well. iRacing deciding not to throw the caution. What on earth is going on here? He's going to slow it right down in the middle of the circuit. What is going on, David? You need to get that car to a safe place. He's got suspension damage on the front left corner. We're going to get a replay of this, Seb.
Wow,
it's going to be... Whoa!
They made contact at the exit of race. I wonder what happened.
I think it's netcode. I think it's
it's gotta be netcode.
Toby Deek drove away from it absolutely no problems at all. We've seen him come round turn 3. They're going to get very tight on each other, and he vanishes. And what on? That is one of the strangest accidents I've seen here in the International IndyCar League.
And Jack, I simply don't understand iRacing anymore. How I for discussion. We had a car stop straight in the middle of the track, and no caution. We even had debris on the freaking track. Come on, iRacing, sort yourself out.
Yes, he's going to get really tight up against the wall there. He's going to vanish, and then there's sort of ghost contact with David Strid, and he's going to go firing into the inside wall. He's so lucky, Toby Deek. He brushes that inside safer barrier, sort of gets suspension damage, and then iRacing decides to fix his suspension damage, and the 48 car, well, sort of stricken in the middle of the racetrack. You can see that damaged suspension on the front left.
Yeah.
And he really needs to find a place to park that. Hopefully he can limp it around to the pit lane,
I think he
which he has done.
Truck.
Yes, okay, so he towed. Good stuff from David Strid. That's what we like to see, getting out of the way, not causing any other drivers too much hassle, as we see Strauss and Bowles now side by side for the lead.
Just in the pits.
So it's going to be about for 5 seconds. Whoa! Oh no, Marcamini with a double lockup.
That's a black flag for Marcamini.
That's going to be race over for Marcamini. We're going to get a replay of this one. It looked like he wanted to break into the pit lane, let off the brakes to try and fend off, I believe that was Mike West, potentially, he was battling with into pit road. He speeds up and slows down. Okay.
Yeah, he forgot to engage the limiter doing says in our ears, and I do agree with him because, yeah,
Yeah, that was a very strange way to sort of slow down, speed up, and slow down again. I mean, that seemed to be a complete rookie error if it wasn't for forgetting to press the pit limiter button. As we now watch onboard, well, look at Ryan Bowles trundle down pit road at a very maintained 55 miles an hour, which seems like you're standing still when you're used to coming down this straight at north of 220. Can he get it stopped in his box? Yes, he can. Absolutely routine stuff from Ryan Bowles. Let's see where he can feed out into this battle as we look back at the leaders, Seb.
So Wade will take the lead again in front of Field, so we'll get our usual top two. And we have Strauss. Oh, there was a black flag for Jason?
So Jason, we're going to get a replay of a black flag for Jason Lowe. This is going to be another one, a small mistake on pit exit, I would imagine. Is it going to be a speeding in pit road as we get the extreme rewind there from our man backstage, Mr. Julian Artena, as we break into pit road.
Oh, he's still in fourth. What are you doing? Still in fourth.
I reckon that's going to be a speeding into pit road. That's going to be a speeding into pit road. That's going to be so disappointing for Jason Lowe. He always shows such incredible pace, but he's about to go a lap down, it looks like, Seb. He's got Wade, Fields, and Strauss hot on his heels. He looks like he should be leading the race, but he's fighting the lap down.
Yep. That's a deal breaker right there.
Yeah, well, especially with the accident we did have and no caution being called, I think we would need to have a meteor strike on the front stretch for a caution to be called today. So it looks like Jason Lowe.
I wouldn't be surprised if cautions were actually off, because there's no way that wasn't a caution, that crash.
Yeah, the cautions are actually on, so it is just an incredible quirk in the iRacing system where we had, I think it was because it was a one-car incident. I know from my oval knowledge that iRacing prefers to throw the caution when there's more than one car involved, and because we had one car sort of half involved, but then sort of drove off with no problems, because it was just the one car and not necessarily stuck for a long time, it potentially just didn't really want to throw the caution. I don't know.
I disagree with you there, because it can throw the caution for single cars, right? And I also had experience where I'm like, wait, is that really caution this? And yeah, I mean, I think what didn't set the caution maybe is that because there were no cars behind.
Right, yeah, now that could make total sense. As you see Ryan Bowles, is this a tactical drop to the rear of the pack? I think it is, because he pulled over to the left-hand side and let Strauss... Yeah, to let Matthias by and to let Fields by as well, I believe, as they now try to find their way past and now lap down at Jason Lowe, who must be kicking himself after that black flag incident.
Yeah.
But lapped cars don't actually have to get out of the way, I believe. So Jason Lowe is free to fight, as he is going to do exactly that and fire himself back up the inside of the 57 machine, saying, no, you know what? I'm going to have a little bit of fun. I may be a lap down, but I don't really want to give you this position.
And I lost Matthias' position to the balls.
Yeah, so that's Matthias with some internet issues as well there in the background.
Yeah.
He needs to be a little bit careful to not get himself tangled up too closely with anyone else.
Yeah, those blanks are their usual business with Matthias, sadly.
We see the field then coming towards us for lap number 41 of 76, and as we are at around the halfway point, I want to remind you of today's fantastic sponsor of the Pocono 190, and that is none other than the Florida Urgent Rescue. These guys do a fantastic job in saving animals from hardship life out in America. Their mission is to save animals from killing shelters and other urgent situations. They take on tough cases, including dogs who have been hit by cars, who have had gunshot wounds, embedded collars, cancerous tumors, and other major medical problems. They rescue seniors, pregnant mothers, and mothers with litters. They focus primarily on rural shelters with limited resources, and they try to help animals who need their help the most. You can find them online at www.floridaurgentrescue.org. These guys are doing a fantastic job to help our best friends out in America there. I think it would be a fantastic cause and definitely something worth looking at if you have time this afternoon. And Jason Lowe is supporting that at the moment for today's race at Pocono with a sponsorship scheme on the side of that 004 machine. And then yeah, I think that if you have a fantastic place in your heart for something like dogs and animals in need, it would be definitely greatly appreciated if you gave those guys a visit. But back to the racing at Pocono here, lap number 43, and it's Fields from Wade, from Bowles from Strauss. Seb.
Yep. And still business as usual right now, Jack. Still maybe getting in. Well, they're not really getting intel yet because they're running still high 40s. So I think we're still not at full speed. But coming to the next few stints, we're going to start to have like actual dogfights. So it's the calm before the storm right now, Jack.
Yeah, you can tell the forecast is on their way, as the drivers were doing 41.3s in terms of lap times. We've now picked up the pace quite a reasonable amount actually to the 40.8 region, and Sheridan Wade now taking the lead back from Fields. He is on 13 laps, so expect him to dive into the pits in the next couple of laps, but a driver that I'm really liking the look of so far in this race is Ryan Bowles. He's only 8 laps into his stint at the moment compared to 9 laps, 11 laps and 13 laps with the cars around him. So I think that he can go longer in this race and then have more fuel to play with come the end of this race, Seb. I think he's definitely one to watch.
Or having a short stop by the end. That would be great. That would be... Again, I have no read on what these guys' fuel numbers are and how the strategy is going to look like, so I'm very excited to see how it will play out.
Well, considering how strong the draft is here at Pocono and how important it is, you would need to have, I would have thought, a fairly, a pretty big difference in fuel numbers if the shorter fuel stop is going to work and do that sort of strategy, because we've seen the draft work from maybe a second, even over a second from car to car. So you'd really need something north of 2 seconds to really make that shorter pit stop work. No.
There's a good thing. If you don't change tires, you're like gaining maybe 2 and 3 seconds if you're having like such a shorter stop.
So that could be something that we need to take into account as well, as that's Mark Amini. That is not for position in the background. He wants to get involved with the top guys. He's only 10 laps on his stint. He's had 2 pit stops is what I was looking at instead. As now, so this is routine stop number 3 for Sheridan Wade, in from the lead, Seb.
Yeah, again, that is business as usual for Sheridan.
So this is going to be, can he get it stopped on his marks? Well, I will watch the timing screens and hope that he can do, as Rick Loverson, Toby Deek follow suit into pit lane, as Ryan Bowles now takes the lead from Nate Fields. So this is now Ryan Bowles thinking, I want to lead this one from the front now. I'm going to hit the hammer. I'm going to try and open up a gap, because I would imagine his aim is to try and overcut the number 54.
Exactly. Bowles is the one that saved the most fuel out of these guys. So let's see how his strategy will play out.
As Nate Fields goes for the instant reply into turn number 1. This is not to try and keep the place, but I would imagine this is for a little bit of swap drafting come the end of this stint, because now we're going into that effect of having 2 different packs racing around this circuit, and it's going to be who can set the fastest lap times, in all honesty. And the last lap for Sheridan Wade in the 54 was a 49.7, so that's going to be irrelevant as he was into pit lane. But Ryan Bowles is now setting the pace with 40.6s is the set of times he's going this. So we are picking up the pace indeed, Seb, as this is West now coming out of pits.
They're getting up to speed, no trouble there, and
So he is going to get picked up by Dan Ench, and Sheridan Wade is going to be by himself at the front. So can he use Dan Ench to claw his way back towards that effective lead car in what is now 5th place, but having
they gotta work together though. Oh, and look at this. There's the lead pack.
Yeah, this is the lead pack, led not by the actual leader, so that's Mark Amini in front. He's not the actual race leader, he is a lap down, but we are riding on board with the actual race leader as he goes past Mark Amini. That is the number 25 of Ryan Bowles. And we saw, out on the corner of my eye, I saw on the timing screens, it was Nate Fields, I think, that also made his stop. So yes, he has done that as well, and the gap is closing up. So we have Sheridan Wade, Nate Fields, Mike West, Dan Ench, all getting closer together, and then we have this main lead pack of cars that are yet to stop, of Ryan Bowles, Matthias Strauss, Matty Simpson. Those guys, that top 3, along with Mark Amini, have not stopped yet.
Let's see.
You can see the other pack just in front of them there, so they're almost a lap down. I think this is Bowles trying to really squeak and edge this tank to the very, very limit to try and get that shorter stop that you were on about 7. I think with this amount of offset, he actually might have something to work with.
Yeah. I mean, other thing is you could also get fresher tires. Although we're on such short fuel cells today, 55% of the normal fuel cells in the car. Yeah,
And this
I'm liking that offset strategy, Jack.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I think Bowles is playing a beautiful strategy game as this is Matty Simpson coming into the pits for his final stop of the day, as that is Jason Lowe that has spun it around on pit entry. That's the second mistake from the 004 in today's race coming down pit road. Jason, what is going on?
It's a brutal pit entry.
Right on board, we'll get a replay, of Jason Lowe coming into pit lane, and I think that this is something that we've seen more and more of with this new IndyCar build of the rear end suddenly swapping around, and it's as he comes into pit road.
Yeah, it's just too much on the brakes.
Locks the rear, Seb.
He came in too hard too.
Yeah, it's a mistake that didn't really need to happen, as you can see he was flying around the outside of all the guys on the lead lap, trying to get it slowed down.
He also got a black flag, so probably either too fast entry pit road or unsafe pit entry, because he also struck the cone at the entry.
I would not be surprised if he got a penalty for both, but looking back to the lead of the race, this is going to be Wade, Simpson, Fields, West, Ench, Bowles, Strauss, the top 7, all mixed and matching among each other. This is Sheridan Wade who cycles back to the front of the field, and it's going to be Matty Simpson, the car in behind in the number 3, the 57 of Nate Fields behind him, and then about a second behind you have Dan Ench, Ryan Bowles, and Matthias Strauss. That is the top 7, and that is the pack that you can see on your screen. The best laps at the moment ranging from the 40.5s to the low 40s, so we're getting the hammer down now, Seb. 24 laps to go, and we're starting to see some action. Yeah,
now it's time to battle. Now for the guys who will pit later, you need really to drop the hammer now. No need to feel safe. You're not offset now. You need to get to the front as quickly as possible.
Exactly. This is Dan Ench who's riding at the back of this train at the moment.
Yeah,
Matthias Strauss getting past him, exactly. So that's going to be a swap for position. Dan Ench going to file in behind the number 28. That is Strauss in front. Yes, the number 28. So he's going to file back in behind the Team Watson racing driver and hope to pick up the pieces of some potential action, I think.
Yep.
Right on board now with Simpson in front. That's Wade in front of him. That is the race leader, and I believe then in front of him is the number 48, is David Stridd. Lapped cars do not have to get out the way, I believe. I don't think we do have the 10 lap blue flag rule that we have in other series here on the Velocity Online Racing channel. So David Stridd can do whatever he wants. If he wants to be a pain, he can be a pain. If he wants to let the field through, he can do that just as well. And the drivers can't complain because it's in the rules.
Oh, Bowles!
Whoa! What happened there? Ryan Bowles losing a lot of momentum there. The number 25 will get a replay of this, Seb.
He nearly understeered, I think, into
Strauss?
Maybe West?
We need to get some more different. Look at the...
No, that was West, yeah. West.
He got incredible amounts of wash there through there. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, this turn isn't quite flat out. So, yeah, you can understeer, but, like, there's a car up there. So you need to completely lift. So, yeah, that was... Yeah, tough ball for him. There's still some racing left to do.
He has 21 laps to get back to the lead pack, and I'm sure he's going to use Dan Ench to the best of his abilities. These guys are going to swap draft and try and pick up ground back to the front of the field. Meanwhile, we have fighting going on between Matty Simpson, Nate Fields, looking for that lead, and we see Simpson Wade making his way around Mark Amini.
Yeah, meanwhile, we had Strauss trying to find an opening on Mike West.
Oh, that could be very, very close and tasty indeed. These guys need to not fight too much, because we saw earlier on in the race how much a gap can open up if you do fight too much.
Now they're getting like more multi-lane action in turn 2 now. Some people high, some people low.
You can
gloves
see
are off now.
Yeah, exactly. The gloves are off. This is like the final sprint in a marathon. The lap times have tumbled. This time, 20 laps ago, we were doing 41.1s. The time on average last time around for the top three was a 40.1, so we're lapping a second faster. All fuel saving has gone out the window. It is full pedal to the metal with 19 laps to go. We ride on board from the rear wing of the number 3. That is Matty Simpson chasing down Sharon Wade for the lead of the race. Nate Fields just in behind, followed by Mike West, who is a few further tenths behind Ryan Bowles, further back there as well, trying to hope that he can make his way back to this lead pack. But Mark Amini, he's not letting this one go easy, albeit a lap down.
This one from Mark Amini. Yeah, you're still trying to fight for like being in the lead lap because there's a caution, but at some point, even if the rules don't state it, you gotta know when it's done for you and gotta let these guys battle it up for the win.
Is that sort of something that's you mentioned about Mark Amini getting out the way? Do you think that's sort of a driver's agreement, or sort of a respect of drivers to sort of get out the way?
I mean, right now Mark Amini, he has no. I mean, maybe David Strait up the road, but he hasn't really someone he's fighting around there. So at one point when there's not enough laps to make a comeback, this is the one way in your mind you maybe like, I had nothing left to do, maybe I should like let these guys battle it out. It's not really getting in the way, but we'll see. I have a certain opinion about racing. They have another opinion about racing, so we'll see how that happens.
Yeah, of course. Looking at the number 57, that was Nate Fields in the Indy 1 machine, looking that he has spent most of his day today inside the top 3. This is an impressive run from him in the 57. His boys back at base will be more than happy with the way that Honda has run so far today. Only Simpson and Wade are in front of him, which I'm really quite surprised at. Not surprised. Surprised is probably the wrong word. I'm impressed with Matty Simpson. We haven't really seen too much of him in the early stages of this race, and suddenly, Seb, with 16 to go, he's popped up inside the top 2.
Yeah. And now look at this. 16 to go. When the pit window is open.
So you can make it to the end of the race from here. Will we see anyone dive into the pits this time around?
My bet will be Wade.
Close eye. We'll ride on board with Wade. Will he duck to the left-hand side?
Nope.
No, he doesn't. So he's going to try and eke it out, Seb.
But I think Wade will be the first one to actually duck into the pit lane.
Yes, you're totally right there. He's been the first of our stoppers all day long. He's been pushing that air for everyone else. 15 laps already in the books on this stint for Sheridan Wade. He will be going 16 laps on this stint this time around, and I believe then next to be followed in will be Mike West in the 999. He's on 14 laps, and then the man on screen at the moment, Nate Fields, up 2 positions today. He will be coming in next, I would hope, on 13 laps.
And that's Mike West who pits with, again, Sheridan Wade.
Okay, so that's interesting. We got Mike West, Sheridan Wade, those two pitting in together. This could be a very, very good duo of cars coming out of pit road. If they can stick together, if neither of them make mistakes, which we've seen so much of today in pit road, this could be it is actually a make or break situation for both of these guys. It looks like Mike West gets stopped well in his box further back. Sheridan Wade gets his IndyCar stopped at the perfect time. Mike West already leaving the box. Will he actually get close to Sheridan Wade on the exit? It's not going to be a challenge for position, but it's going to be well within the draft envelope.
And I think that's a deck right behind in the pits.
Yes, so that's Toby Beek, David Strid as well. Those two coming into the pits on this occasion as we ride on board with Simpson, the effective now race leader. I doubt he'll be leading the race once the pit cycle comes through, unless he has an incredible in-lap / out-lap with those around him. And it's a bit like Daytona here. You need to have cars around you when you pit to maximize the draft. As we sort of used that analogy earlier on, Seb, it's a bit like a cycling race. The more you have, the better you go.
And look at it, I think Fields is preparing to enter the pits. He has slowed down out of 3, and he's in the pits. Although that's a very cautious pit entry, Jack. Let's see how it pays off for him.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it, between an aggressive and tame pit entry. You don't want to lose too much time on the pit entry, and there's so much time to be gained on the pit entry. But in the case of poor Jason Lowe, you have seen what happens if you push a little bit too hard onto the pit entry. As we ride on board now with the TWS machine, this is Matthias Strauss, the Team Watson racing driver, third in the championship last time out for season 29. He's only had one start here before, but an average finish out of that one start. Well, it's not really an average finish, is it? He finished second on the road last time he took to this circuit, and an average start of fourth, as he takes now the lead away from Ench and Bowles. This is going to be a trio that will need to work together in extreme amounts so that Matthias can have his best chance at getting the win tonight.
Yep. So yeah, there'll be 11 to go, 10 to go at the line. Very interesting how these two strategies will pan out. Those who pitted early, those who pitted later. I don't see Strauss and Bowles staying up for one of the laps. I think they'll be pitting in this lap.
We saw Matty Simpson there coming out of the pits. This is the main fight for the lead. So this is the lead pack, and we should see a slower moving IndyCar slightly further up the road. You can see there in the distance, he's way ahead.
Wow.
Simpson is far ahead, 10 seconds. Wow.
That's good. That's good for him.
So he is extremely far up the road there, making the best out of his strategy. That's something that we didn't see coming, I don't think, in the commentary box at all, Seb. What a move from Simpson, not necessarily on the racetrack, but in the pit box.
Yeah, and so I mean, he must have, waited so far behind, and he's stuck behind lap traffic. So. Yeah, I mean, that must have been a super pit entry for Simpson. Oh, caution! Are you kidding me?
Played beautifully into the hands of Matthias Strauss. He pitted just as the caution came out. We saw in the background down the pit straight last time around, as this is going to be a replay of how that caution came around. And this is David Strid with another meatball.
Yeah, Wade understeered into him. I mean, here's a caution, while earlier it wasn't, so iRacing logic.
We ride on board here with Wade. He's going to go to the inside, try and follow Marcamini through on Strid, and I believe, he's just going to get into the dirty air here, isn't he? And he's just washing all the way up the racetrack. He'd be well off the throttle by this point, but it's sort of too little too late, and unfortunately, David Strid finds himself facing the wrong direction for the second time tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, Strid had a lot of space on his outside.
But one thing I want to point out once again is how well this has played into the hands of Matthias Strauss. We saw in the background, just before the caution came out, him dive off to the left-hand side to make his stop. And as he trundled down pit road, the caution came out. So he has jumped straight back up into second position, being on a fresh set of Firestones with a 2-lap offset to Matty Simpson in front.
Okay, very interesting, because Simpson is pretty much stopped on the track because he has to wait for the pace car.
So that is one of the strange perks of iRacing we see here. Simpson is practically stopped. I promise you guys, he hasn't broken down. He is simply just waiting for the pace car to come and pick him up.
And there we go.
So towards the end of this one then, if we look at the left-hand side, it's going to be 2 Hondas against what seems like an army of Chevys, as we see numerous cars in the background go into the pits. So that is going to be the likes of Dan Ench, Toby Deek, and Jason Lowe coming in to top off their pit stops. And I believe Jason Lowe was due a stop anyway. Yet to change tires as well. Any sort of help with the Firestones with a fresh set of rubber will come into their hands amazingly. Unfortunately for Jason Lowe, he is a lap down. So while we're under caution, everyone's trundling around at the best part of 80 miles per hour. So while we do that, let's look ahead to some more fantastic IndyCar action that will be coming your way on the Velocity Online Racing channel in the coming weeks. We have the Indy Next Series at Barber coming up soon. That's on the 28th of March. Kickoff will be, well, not kickoff, green flag will be Central European summertime at 8 p.m. Then we've got VOR at St. Petersburg. That's going to be a fantastic race. It's going to be a double header for that and the Indy Next Series as well. We'll have 2 races for the VOR series. That is the way that they do things for the street courses. And then obviously Indy Next will follow suit. Then we've got VOR at Las Vegas. And I believe that is the Indy Next at Las Vegas as well. I don't think that is supposed to say VOR on there. Yeah, exactly. So we have Indy Next at 4 p.m. on the 11th of April. And then we have the main VOR series a little later on, 4 hours later. So it'll be an action-packed evening of IndyCar and Indy Next action for that time around. And also, while we're under caution, I want to remind you of today's fantastic sponsor, which is the Florida Urgent Rescue Team. Their mission, of course, as I said before, is to save animals from kill shelters and other urgent situations. They take on tough cases, including dogs who've been hit by cars, have gunshot wounds, embedded collars, cancerous tumors, and other major medical problems. They rescue senior dogs and senior animals, pregnant mums, and mums with young litters. They focus primarily on rural shelters with limited resources, so any help that you can give them would be greatly appreciated, no doubt. They try and help animals who need the most help to themselves. So you can find them online at www.floridaurgentrescue.org. And once again, I strongly urge you to, even if you don't want to go and give your support to this for these guys who are doing a fantastic job out in Florida, to at least spread the word and to read up on them, because they do some fantastic work out in the Florida state of America. But back to the IndyCar action, Seb. We're going to have 7 to go. What do you think is on the cards?
Everything's on the cards.
I'm absolutely loving this one.
And I think there'll probably be a 3-4 wide action to turn 1 classic Pocono style.
I cannot wait. We have Strauss, who has hit the jackpot with the timing of his pit stop and the caution, leading this race, getting himself ready. You can see the weaves there as we look on board. Back at the rest of the field, the pace lights are off on the safety car, so we are going to be going green at this time around, I believe, as we round turn 3 here at Pocono. It's going to be 7 laps to go. 190 miles comes down to this. The pace car is going to peel off to the left-hand side. The field's sticking to the outside line to make sure no one sneaks past, and it's going to be Matthias Strauss that controls the restart. Green flag is in the air. 7 laps to go here at Pocono. Who's going to get here first? It's a fantastic jump. Fantastic jump there from Strauss, as we have more action in the background. 2 cars hard into the inside wall. No caution yet. Whoa, one upside down. My word.
Come on,
Rick Loverson, unfortunate for him. What a massive accident that was off the green flag. I believe that was some more contact as a result of some internet issues, but we're going to stay green, Seb. Look at this.
Yes, he nearly shoved the wing off of that car. Wait, hang on. Yeah, I thought for a second that Simpson had no end plate, but no, everything's fine. Now here comes balls, Jack.
No way, what a chop off there from Matthias Strauss. Surely that's going to have a look in the steward's room. Now Ryan Bowles picks his opportunity to the race lead, snatches it away from Matthias Strauss with 5 to go. The tension is ramping well above sky level at the moment. Strauss is going to come back to the inside. Bowles is going to see it coming. He's going to run the high line. Matthias Strauss with the slide job up the inside. We look on board now with Simpson, the number 3 car. Look at this run he's getting, Seb, on Wade, Bowles and Strauss. He's eyeing them up down the pit straight onto one of the longest straights here in sim racing. They're 3 wide as we cross the line with 4 to go.
Someone has to back out.
We're going to go 4 wide into turn number 1 here at Pocono. The tension is getting higher and higher. Simpson then with the front row seats. Strauss has to slot into second place behind Wade in the 54, who has led so much of this race. But Strauss says, no, thank you. I want that place back. And here comes now Ryan Bowles.
The outside of turn 2. Oh, look at this. Bowles super tight. Yeah,
he's going to lose a place.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Simpson's in the wall. Has he got damage?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's definitely got some damage there, Seb. Oh, caution.
Oh, they're crashing.
Oh, what on earth is going on here? That's going to be Mike West, and is that Ryan Bowles as well that is around? It is. It's Ryan Bowles and Mike West that come together out of turn number 3. Oh, my Lord, with 3 to go.
Are we going green? I don't think we're going green again.
I don't think we're going to go green unless we have live stewards to set the car to green. And this is going to be off the restart. So this is going to be Bowles, I believe, at the first of our many replays. No, this isn't. Sorry, this is Lovison and Ench. Whoa!
This should have been a caution. I don't understand what iRacing is doing. No matter what, this should have been a caution.
That was a classic iRacing sticky car situation where 2 guys get stuck together and unfortunately find themselves going Mark 5 into the pit wall. And this is going to be the second incident. So this is going to be Ryan Bowles, Matthias Strauss, and I think this is going to be where Simpson started to fall back a little bit. So we see Strauss to the inside.
I think this is when Matthias actually nearly chopped someone off. He had weird lines coming. No, wait, no, that's.
No, this is going to be when Bowles actually found his way to the high side.
Yeah, so that's the 3 wide. Matthias had weird lines through turn 3.
Yeah, with 5 to go, I think you need to do any line that it takes to make sure you secure that first place on the road and that lead of the pack, as this is the 3 wide. We were riding on board with Simpson at this point in real time, and that was the fantastic 3 wide into turn 1. Now this is where... Whoa!
That was dirty. That was dirty.
I think that was an incredible netcode though, Seb. You saw the front of that car completely lift up as Toby Deek sort of moved across there on Simpson. He was already in the wall, so he followed Bowles into the wall and watched that red and green car. Bang.
Oh!
Straight into the wall for Simpson. Yeah. Nothing to do there.
I want to see, because did Toby got sent? Oh, wait. Yeah, I mean, Toby with connection made the situation pretty bad.
And then we were too busy focusing on him in the wall, and there was another massive accident that unfolded just around the corner, which was with Mike West, and I believe, who else was in that? I believe that was Ryan Bowles as well that was in that one as well. So this is going to be, we're going to see, whoa! Oh my word!
Yeah, this is, oh dear Lord.
Was an extremely heavy impact there for Mike West and Ryan Bowles. I think they just got together, went for the same bit of racetrack as Mike West was washing up from the dirty air.
Yeah, West understood into Bowles, and that caused the wreck.
And Mike West goes for one of the wildest riders I've ever seen in IndyCar broadcasting.
2 to go, so they're all bunched up behind the pace car. I don't know if the pace car lights up.
I don't think we will get a green flag finish to this one yet, but look at this, on board with West, just catches the dirty air, nowhere to go. Bowles unfortunately gets tagged, and then they just go at Mark 5 into the catch fence. Mike West, my word. A visit to the infield care centre will no doubt be in due course for that driver of the number 999. That was a wild ride.
Yeah, and we're still under yellow. I think they just crossed the start-finish line, so white flag.
Well, I think we were denied one of the coolest and most incredible finishes. here at Pocono, but yeah, we're going to be finishing this one under yellow flag situations, and it will be one that Matthias Strauss felt he was handed and then robbed of after the first caution, playing beautifully into his hands. But it's not going to go his way, and it's not going to go Chevy's way it will go Chevy's way. Strauss piloting the first of the Hondas, but it seems to be pretty even pegging at the moment in the top four, well, for the end of this race between the two manufacturers. We go Chevy, Honda, but it will be a fantastic performance for the 83 of Toby Deek. But all the focus and all the celebrations are going to be started by this man on your screen, the number 54, Sheridan Wade. 40 laps led today in that orange, white and blue Indy 1 machine. A fantastic drive. We were skeptical at the fact that he led so many laps near the start of this race, but it goes to show you need to be in it to win it. Started third, leading this one on the white flag lap under caution, so it will be a fantastic win for Sheridan Wade in that number 54 machine. It's only a couple more corners to go at 80 miles per hour behind the safe car. What a race it's been for him, Seb.
Yep. It's a little bit frustrating though that we didn't get the ending we should have.
Yeah, well, it's sometimes that happens in IndyCar. I've noticed a lot recently we've been robbed of a fair few finishes, but one win that will not get robbed from that number 54 machine is round one at Pocono for season 30. Sheridan Wade takes the win under caution conditions. No doubt not the way that any driver would want to kick off their season, but a win is a win nonetheless. Sheridan Wade takes win number one in season 30 of the International IndyCar League. From third to first, proving you have to be in it to win it. Sheridan Wade with a fantastic commanding win, always in the hunt for the lead of the race throughout. A fantastic strategy puts him at the front and making the best out of the two late cautions. Sheridan Wade, congratulations, it goes to you and the whole 54 crew. A really impressive performance, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to start the season. So I have nothing to say to that.
A fantastic way to etch his name at the top of the standings for round number one. Hopefully we'll see more of him come back into the series as it continues later down the line, because, well, I mean, he was a fantastic one to watch throughout this race. Impressive passes, good strategy with the swap drafting, and to come away with the win. And effectively, I know it's very early on, but the championship lead, I'm sure that he'll be over the moon with that one as he does his celebratory donuts, almost clipping the wall there actually on the safer barrier on the outside, but we'll let him enjoy his celebratory donuts.
So yeah, we're going to get hopefully the top three in the commentary booth for interviews. But first, Jack, let's look at the race results.
It would be my pleasure. So, round one of season 30 of the International IndyCar League here at Pocono. The Pocono 190 is won by the number 54 Chevy. Sheridan Wade takes the win ahead of Matthias Strauss, Nate Fields, Toby Deek rounds out the top four, and then Mark Amini in fifth. A fantastic recovery from him, considering he was a lap down. Jason Lowe, probably another day that could have been for the 004. Fantastic pace showed, but two mistakes on pit road cost him a good result today. Rick Loverson, Dan Ench, Ryan Bowles, and Matty Simpson rounds out the top 10. And then bringing up the rear of the field is the 999 of Mike West, and David Strid in the 48 Chevy rounds out the 12 car strong field we have for round one. Well then, Seb, considering it was round one, we had a lot of action, we had a lot of intent, and we have a lot of fiery drivers ahead of us for what is set to be no doubt another action-packed season of IndyCar racing.
I mean, it is pretty much set the tone. If you want to get involved with this, make sure to join the Discord server of the International IndyCar League, because, like, imagine this with like 20, 25 cars. That would be,
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's definitely something that would be fantastic to see. More cars, the better, of course. And although we only had the 12-car strong field today, I feel like the racing caliber and the racing strategy and the general respect between drivers was incredibly high. Unfortunately, we did have 2 cautions towards the end of the race, but a lot of them, or all of them, were caused by what I would deem to be either slight internet problems or just main things that happen in IndyCar racing, especially at 225 miles an hour with all of the dirty air and everything that comes with it, quite frankly. But moving towards the post-race segment now, we only have one driver at the moment, I believe, in the waiting room for the interview. So I think we should do a little bit of a joint interview here, Seb. This is, we'll bring in Matthias Strauss, who is the second finisher for today, with us in the booth. Now, Seb, I'll let you kick things off.
Hey, Matthias Strauss, I think this is the first time we're doing this. You have a copy. This is Sébastien Kinder there.
Yeah, I copy.
Well, buddy, it looks like suddenly you got the grass cut under your feet. You did everything right. You came out ahead thanks to a lucky time caution, and then suddenly caution giveth and caution taketh away, as we say.
Yeah, for sure. I got lucky on the first caution, and then the luck was on Wade's side for the second one. So, I mean, it's 1-1 on luckiness. So, I mean, it's nothing I can do. Peter is still a solid position.
I mean, compared to what you're seeing in VOR, you would take that second place any day.
Yeah, for sure.
Jack?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was quite an interesting race towards the end, as we see so often here in the International IndyCar League. But I'm sure that your face completely lit up with joy as you were trundling down pit lane and the caution came up. But what happened under that sort of restart? Did you manage to find your way through? But obviously Wade managed to sneak past as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to keep their lead around here, especially with the hybrid and everything. So I just try to position myself for the last lap, honestly, and unfortunately the race ended early because I really looked forward to the battle with Wade. So yeah, I mean, we will go for it next week as well. So.
Yeah, we were saying in the commentary booth as well how unfortunate it was. We were set for such a good finish, a grandstand finish, so to say, towards the end of this one, and unfortunately taken away by a caution period. And nonetheless, a second place is not a bad way to kick off your championship hopes. And even getting the pole off of the first race of the season, that can't be a too shabby way to kick off season 30, can it?
I think it's a pretty solid start since, I mean, it's a positive to start up front, so, and it gives you an extra bonus point, so I take it.
Exactly. So it's not all bad things. We've got a long season ahead, a lot of points on store, and you definitely know how to take championship leads and build on championship leads as well. I think, building off of the P3 in season 29 can only make you wiser and more hungry, no?
Yeah, we're aiming for at least one more step on the podium in the standings. So, and we're aiming for the first one.
Yeah, I mean, one more step. No, you got to aim for the championship, buddy. There, you got to aim for the championship.
I will try.
Yeah, I mean, if not, you're fired. That's what I'm going to say. Anyway, Matthias, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth, and good luck for next race. Unless if Jack has another question for you.
I was just going to say, is there any teams, family, sponsors, anyone you'd like to give a thank you for today's performance?
Yeah, it's obvious. The family, Team Awesome Racing, all the sponsors, my teammates, especially Seb.
Yeah.
Because I got hammered down last season for not thanking him. So thank you, Seb, for being my teammate, and hopefully you will see me more on track.
Fantastic.
It's in the works.
Well, that was Matthias Strauss, second on the road today at round one for the Pocono 190. I think that it will be a fantastic season ahead for him. As we look ahead to the rest of the season, Seb, what do you think we've got in store? I think it's going to be, once again, another cracker of a season with a mix of road courses and ovals and everything in between. We've got a lot to look forward to.
I mean, next we've got Las Vegas, which will be very interesting to see. Also, like the Glen is also pretty much always a surefire for any cars on iRacing, but it's more like the short tracks I'm looking forward to. The Milwaukee Mile, Phoenix, Gateway. Those are, we see in real life great racing out of these, and I saw with last week at Richmond with the Velocity Online Racing. With great racing out of those short tracks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to those mostly.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The short tracks always seem to throw up all sorts of mayhem and unpredictability, but I think as well, a personal favorite of mine that I'm definitely looking forward to are the road courses. I think that always throws a spanner into the works. You see drivers that potentially may not be as competitive on the ovals really come through and shine in their own once we go to the road courses rather than the ovals. But as said on screen, races are always held on Sundays at 9:30 a.m. US Eastern Time. If you're in the UK, that's 2:30 p.m. Central Europe is 3:30, and Central USA is going to be 8:30 in the morning. Well then, to round things out, it's been rather fantastic first race here at Pocono. We've had a lot of drafting, we've had high speeds, we've had big crashes, we've had cautions, we've had fantastic new winners, we've had championship protagonists set their eyes on what seems to be another fantastic racing season ahead of us. And all of this has been brought to you and made possible by the Florida Urgent Rescue Foundation, whose mission is to save animals from kill shelters and other urgent situations, tough cases, whether it's being hit by cars, gunshot wounds, embedded collars, cancerous tumors, medical issues, even problems with their young, or whether they are pregnant and look to be unhealthy. With limited resources, they do all of they can in the Florida state to help animals in need. And once again, if you have any heart to go and check them out or even help their cause, it would be greatly appreciated by all of us here at the Velocity Online Racing season. But keep those post notifications on, keep yourself subscribed, because next week we head to Las Vegas. Coverage starts at 3:30 p.m. Central European Time. That is going to be on March the 29th for round 2 of the International IndyCar season.
But yeah, we are not going to be broadcasting this one. I think the next race will be broadcasting again with if the guy in my ears is really with me instead of shouting with me, we'll be seeing you again for Talladega, actually round 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Well then, Talladega it is. We will see you next time out at Talladega. From everyone here at the Velocity Online Racing Series, from myself, Jack James, my co-commentator, Sébastien Kinder, and the man behind the cameras, the buttons, and the coordination, Julian Altena, we all thank you very much for watching, and we will see you for round 7 of the International IndyCar League, coming to you live from the big one, Talladega. We'll see you there. Goodbye.